Dead Rising has a small handful of firearms scattered across Willamette Mall, and the gap between the worst gun and the best is enormous. So today, I'm ranking and explaining every gun in Dead Rising, starting with one that nobody wants to use: Nail Gun. Let's get something out of the way. The Nail Gun holds 60 shots. That sounds incredible until you realize you need about 3 of those shots just to drop a single standard zombie. So that massive magazine, it gets you roughly 20 kills. In a mall with thousands of undead, cool. The firing speed doesn't help either. It's slow enough that you'll watch zombies shamble toward you in real time while you're plinking nails into their chest like you're building a fence. This is not a crowd control weapon. This is barely a weapon. Here's the thing though. The nail gun does have one genuine use case, and that's psychopath fights when you've burned through everything else. That 60 shot capacity means you can sustain fire longer than most guns, slowly chipping away at a boss like you're filing down a boulder with a toothbrush. It's not effective, but it's something. But if you think the bottom of the barrel can't get any more interesting, wait until we talk about the gun everyone starts with and nobody respects: handgun. Every Dead Rising player has the same relationship with the handgun. You pick it up, fire a few rounds into a zombie's torso, watch it barely flinch, and immediately start looking for literally anything else. The handgun holds 30 rounds and deals some of the lowest damage of any firearm in the game. Shooting a zombie in the body feels like you're politely asking it to reconsider its life choices. It takes multiple shots to drop a single standard zombie, which is, not ideal when 400 of them are shuffling toward you in the food court. But here's the thing, a headshot instantly kills any zombie. 1 bullet, 1 kill. So technically this gun is fine. In practice, nobody wants to carefully line up precision shots while a horde is closing in from every direction. It's the difference between a weapon being viable and a weapon being practical. The handgun spawns everywhere throughout the mall, making it the most replaceable firearm you'll ever hold. You'll never run out of them. You'll just always wish they were something better. But if the handgun feels underwhelming, the next gun on our list starts to show what Dead Rising firearms can actually do: semi-auto rifle. On paper, the semi-auto rifle looks like a winner. A-rank firepower, A-rank reload speed, rapid fire capability, and solid accuracy. You read those stats and think you're picking up something special. You are not. The problem is the magazine. 10 rounds. That's it. 10 bullets between you and a horde of zombies that do not care about your stat sheet. You fire 3 times, miss once because a zombie lunged at you, and suddenly you're already halfway through your ammo, wondering where it all went. And here's the kicker. This thing costs $67,000 in Dead Rising 2. $67,000 for a gun that runs dry before you finish clearing a single room. That price tag creates a beautiful psychological trap. You spend big, you expect big, and what you get is a weapon that's merely competent. B-rank firing speed means it doesn't even shoot particularly fast for something calling itself semi-automatic. It's the gun equivalent of ordering the most expensive thing on the menu and getting a slightly above average steak. Not bad, just disappointing, but if you want to talk about a gun that actually earns its keep through volume of fire, the submachine gun has something to say. Submachine gun, this is the chaos gun. The one you grab is when you've decided that accuracy is a suggestion and volume is a strategy. The submachine gun looks like a micro Uzi, handles like one too, and its entire philosophy is why fire 1 bullet when you could fire 30 in the same amount of time. Individual damage per bullet, medium, rate of fire, absolutely unhinged. It's the kind of weapon where you hold the trigger down and just sort of hope for the best. And here's the thing, headshots still instantly kill any zombie, so even spray and pray occasionally rewards you with a lucky dome shot. I meant to do that, you whisper, standing in a pile of bodies you aimed at 0 of. Now, the SMG has 2 very distinct firing modes that basically function as a personality test. Fire without aiming, and Frank just sprays in whatever direction he's facing, like a man watering his lawn during a hurricane. But aim deliberately, and the crosshair kicks in, giving you actual targeting assistance. Disciplined survivors aim, panicking survivors spray. Either way, zombies drop. Finding one is the tricky part. It spawns in plenty of locations throughout the mall, but most of them are tucked away in hard-to-reach spots. Rare enough to feel special, common enough that exploring always pays off. But if you think spraying bullets is satisfying, wait until you hear what happens when you condense all that firepower into a single close-range blast. Shotgun. The shotgun is the closest thing Dead Rising has to a holy weapon. You pick this thing up, point it down a hallway full of zombies, and pull the trigger. The shells leave the barrel in a cone shape, hitting multiple targets per blast, which means it's one of the only firearms in the game that actually does crowd control. In a mall full of narrow corridors and tight storefronts, that cone spread isn't just useful, it's borderline unfair. It holds 20 shots before you toss it, and a well-placed headshot instantly kills any zombie in the game. 20 shots doesn't sound like a lot until you realize each one is clearing 3 or 4 zombies at a time. That That math adds up fast. You're also racking up PP like nobody's business with the sheer volume of destruction you're putting out. Here's the thing though, its effectiveness drops off hard at range. You need to be reasonably close for the spread to actually connect with enough pellets to drop anything efficiently. Stand too far back and you're basically throwing confetti, which means the weapon, whose entire identity is built around clearing rooms, still asks you to get uncomfortably close to the things you're trying to kill. It's a crowd control tool that demands you stay in the crowd. I don't know what to tell you, but if the shotgun's range limitations left you wanting a gun that rewards patience over panic, wait until we talk about the weapon that turns every hallway into a shooting gallery. Sniper rifle. Here's the thing about the sniper rifle. It's a long-range precision weapon in a game where 99% of your enemies are shambling toward you from 6 feet away. That's like bringing a fishing rod to a knife fight. Base damage sits at 150 with headshots jumping to 225. On a regular zombie, that's swatting a fly with a sledgehammer. One shot, one kill, congratulations, you've used a premium round on something you could have handled with a park bench. But psychopaths, that's where this thing earns its keep. 225 damage to the head while standing on the other side of the plaza, completely out of reach of whatever chainsaw a deranged clown is swinging at you. Distance is survival, and the sniper rifle is the only gun that lets you fight from a different zip code. You get 30 shots per rifle, which sounds generous until you realize these only live at the Huntin' Shack in North Plaza and drop from the Hall family. That's it. Every bullet is a deliberate investment, not a happy accident. So it's a weird contradiction, borderline useless for the thing you do most in this game, but arguably essential for the thing that's most likely to kill you. Which is kind of a perfect summary of Dead Rising's entire design philosophy. But if the sniper rifle feels like overkill for zombies and barely enough for bosses, wait until you see what happens when you hand Frank West a shotgun with an attitude problem. Riot. Gun. Every family has that one relative who shows up to exactly one reunion, completely outshines everyone, and then vanishes forever. That's the riot gun. This is the shotgun's cooler, older sibling. It does everything the standard shotgun does, but better. Most zombies drop in a single close-range blast, which sure, the regular shotgun can pull off too. But here's where the riot gun earns its keep. With precise aim, you can actually land kills at distances where the standard shotgun would just make zombies slightly annoyed. It directly addressed the one complaint everyone had about shotguns in Dead Rising. The range issue. Problem solved. You're welcome. But here's the thing. This gun exists exclusively in Dead Rising. Chop till you drop. The Wii version. Let that sink in for a second. The objectively superior shotgun variant, the one that fixes the biggest weakness of one of the franchise's most popular weapons, lives permanently on the Nintendo Wii and nowhere else. It's the final shotgun unlocked in that game, available after completing Case 7-2, and it genuinely feels like a reward worth earning, and then Capcom just never brought it back. Not in Dead Rising 2, not in 3, not in the deluxe remaster. They built a better shotgun, put it on the console least associated with zombie massacres, and walked away. I don't know what to tell you. It's a fantastic gun trapped in the wrong timeline. But if you think a shotgun with an identity crisis is strange, wait until you see what happens when Dead Rising borrows a Magnum straight out of Resident Evil for Killer 7. On paper, this gun shouldn't just be ranked high. It should be number 1. The Killer 7 is a Magnum that one-shots every single zombie in the game. Not most zombies, not zombies if you hit them in the head. Every zombie, every time, one bullet, one kill. That's stopping power that almost nothing else in Dead Rising can touch, and it fires faster than the Broken Butterfly, which is the other Magnum competing for this spot. So you've got equivalent or greater raw damage combined with the superior rate of fire. That's a combination that should mathematically end the conversation. Here's the thing though. The Killer 7 is exclusive to Dead Rising. Chop till you drop. The Wii version of the game. That alone limits its legacy significantly. It's modeled after the AMT Hardballer and was originally a Resident Evil 4 weapon brought over as a crossover piece for the Wii port, which is a cool bit of fan service, but it means the vast majority of Dead Rising players have never actually fired this thing. On top of that, it's locked behind late game progression. The Killer 7 is one of the few weapons handed to Frank during Otis's challenge, the final Odd Jobs mission. So even within Chop Till You Drop, you're not seeing this gun until you've basically already beaten everything the game throws at you. A weapon that kills everything in one shot but only exists in one version of the game and only shows up at the very end. That's a Ferrari you can only drive in a parking lot. But if you think a platform-locked Magnum is frustrating, wait until you meet its rival, which has the exact same problem, but somehow handles it worse. Broken Butterfly. The Broken Butterfly is the luxury sports car of Dead Rising firearms. S-rank firepower, A-rank firing speed, and it costs $80,000 in-game currency. That's the most expensive standard firearm you can buy, and honestly, it earns every single penny. This huge handgun fires magnum rounds with the highest damage classification the game even has, S rank. Hey, that's not pretty good. That's the ceiling. Nothing in the firepower category rates higher. You point it at a zombie, that zombie ceases to be a problem. You point it at a psychopath, and suddenly that boss fight feels a lot shorter than it's supposed to. But here's the thing, you get 6 rounds. 6, that's it. Every single missed shot with the broken butterfly isn't just wasteful, it's physically painful. You can almost feel your wallet getting lighter. This is the franchise's most extreme power versus scarcity trade-off, and it's not particularly close. You're basically carrying a golden revolver that fires $100 bills. Now, sharp-eyed Capcom fans will recognize the name. The broken butterfly also appears in Resident Evil 4 as a premium magnum with similarly rare ammunition. That tells you everything about how Capcom views this weapon across franchises. It's always the devastating but scarce option. That's its entire identity. And if you're wondering how it compares to the Killer 7, here's the short version. The Killer 7 fires faster, but the broken butterfly rates higher on raw firepower. The butterfly's S rank puts it in a class the Killer 7 can't quite reach. 6 rounds of perfection, just don't miss. But if you thought 6 rounds was an interesting ammo count, wait until you see what happens when you give Frank West 200 heavy machine gun. This is the power fantasy moment. You defeat the escaped convicts riding around in their military Humvee, and Frank West does what any reasonable photojournalist would do. He rips the heavy machine gun clean off the vehicle and carries it through the mall like he's auditioning for a one-man war movie. The heavy machine gun holds 150 rounds of absolutely devastating ammunition. It has solid targeting that lets you mow down zombies with surprising efficiency, and it can shred through crowds at close to medium range without you needing to do much of anything. Point in the general direction of a problem, hold the trigger, and the problem stops existing. You can clear entire areas of the mall before you even need to think about relocating. But here's the thing, you cannot store this weapon in your inventory. The moment you pick it up, Frank is committed. You're carrying it, you're slow, and you're not equipping anything else until you either burn through all 150 rounds or drop it voluntarily. It's less of a weapon and more of a lifestyle choice. And that 150 round capacity is both a blessing and a countdown timer. While it lasts, you're practically invincible. Nothing in the mall can stand up to sustained heavy machine gun fire. Zombies, psychopaths, doesn't matter. But the second that ammo runs dry, you're standing in the middle of a zombie-infested shopping center holding a very heavy, very useless piece of metal, with no backup weapon equipped and reduced movement speed, which is, not ideal. It's a gun that turns you into a walking apocalypse for exactly as long as it takes to empty the belt. After that, you're just walking. But if you think 150 rounds of raw firepower is impressive, wait until you see what the Chicago Typewriter does with a fraction of the ammo. Chicago Typewriter. This is the gun you earn by proving you didn't need it. And that's not a joke. The Chicago Typewriter is unlocked by completing the entire game in under 10 hours, regardless of what rank you finish with. So you literally have to beat Dead Rising fast enough to prove you're already dangerous without top-tier weapons, and then the game goes, cool, here's the best automatic firearm we've got, and it earns that title immediately. The Chicago Typewriter is a fully automatic submachine gun that outputs higher damage per shot than the standard SMG while maintaining the same rapid fire rate. Every other submachine gun in the game becomes a paperweight the moment this thing enters your inventory. It's not even a competition. The standard SMG had a nice run, but retirement came early. The name itself is a nod to the Thompson submachine gun, the weapon of choice for gangsters during Prohibition-era Chicago. Mobsters called it the Chicago Typewriter because of the sound it made when firing, which is a fantastic bit of thematic flavor for a game about a guy in a shopping mall fighting zombies with anything he can get his hands on. Frank West is basically running around Willamette like a one-man organized crime syndicate at this point. It also shows up in Dead Rising, Chop Till You Drop, as the single most powerful submachine gun in that entire game. Consistent dominance across titles. Here's the thing about the Chicago Typewriter. It sits right next to the real Mega Buster as a top-tier firearm. Those two weapons represent the absolute ceiling of what Dead Rising gives you for ranged combat. One rewards persistence, the other rewards speed. And speaking to that other one, it might just be the most overpowered unlock in the entire franchise. Real Mega Buster, this is it, the single most powerful ranged weapon in Dead Rising. And getting it requires you to do something genuinely unhinged. You need to kill 53 through 194 zombies. That's the Zombie Genocider achievement, and yes, that number is specific, and yes, it's exactly as miserable as it sounds. In the original game, you had to do all of that in a single playthrough. Just hours of mowing down undead in the maintenance tunnels until your eyes glazed over and your thumbs went numb. The deluxe remaster at least lets you accumulate kills across multiple playthroughs, which is the developer equivalent of saying, okay, fine, we'll be slightly less cruel about this. But the payoff. The payoff is absurd. The real Mega Buster holds 300 shots. You could clear entire sections of the mall and barely dent that ammo count. Every enemy in the game goes down in 6 shots or fewer. Headshots on zombies and survivors, instant kill. Bosses that gave you nightmares on your first playthrough now last about 4 seconds. It turns the entire mall into a victory lap where Frank West is basically a god walking through a grocery store. And the deluxe remaster made it even better by adding charge mechanics straight from Mega Man X. Uncharged shots deal base damage. Charge level 2 penetrates through multiple zombies like they're made of wet paper. Charge level 3 passes through everything with explosive effects equal to the laser sword. They literally put a Mega Man weapon inside a zombie game, and it's the best thing that's ever happened. No other gun comes close. The real Mega Buster is the undisputed king of Dead Rising firearms, and every zombie kill on the way to unlocking it is worth it. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.